What's up, guys and gals? It's Mizuna, and welcome back to episode 5, I believe, of our Feed the Beast Beyond Let's Play. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're all having a good day. In the last episode, we built some even better tools, got ourselves fully kitted out. A little note about the Matic. The Matic does not mine gravel any faster than an open hand, which is really annoying. It does great on dirt, it does great on grass, it does great on wood, but it does not mine gravel, which obviously, when you're mining underground, you want something that mines gravel. So I might be replacing this with a shovel, keeping this guy around as my axe, because then we don't have to carry a separate Matic with us to hoe the ground if we ever need to hoe. You know how it goes. Anyway, I've made some slight modifications. One, my cobalt Ardite hammer. I have replaced the cobalt plate with a bronze plate. This is because I originally used the cobalt plate thinking that it would give the lightweight modifier, but it counts as a head instead of as an extra piece. So I used the bronze plate, one, to get dense so that it lasts for longer, and two, because if you didn't know, you can repair the hammer with any of the materials you use for the plates. So now this hammer can be repaired with bronze, which is much less expensive than cobalt or ardite. Another thing is I've been mining a ton. Let me just go. I've also made some upgrades here. Turn these into iron chests. You can see how I did that here. Just craft iron around a plank of wood. Right-click on a chest, and it turns into an iron chest. It's the same capability to store, or nearly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is 6. Yeah, same as a double chest, but in a one-block space. So, easy way to upgrade our storage. I've been mining a ton. I have a huge amount of redstone. This stuff does need to be organized slightly. And, more importantly, we got enough lapis to put Fortune 3 on our pickaxe. So now, we have a hammer to mine fast, and a pickaxe to fortune all of our ores, like diamonds and things like that. Speaking of diamonds, just a slight update. We are up to 18 of those guys. Pretty cool. I'm not putting fortune on my hammer, because eventually I'm going to replace the Ardite tool rod, which, as you know, is giving us stone bound. Going to be replacing... I think it's giving us stone bound anyway. Maybe it's... Maybe it's giving us Petramore, which would be unfortunate to get rid of. But I'll be replacing that anyway with Sponge, which will give us Silk Touch, and it's also one of the highest one of the highest durability modifiers in the game. Of course, we need to find Sponge first. So go back. Sponge. Yeah, you can see it has a 1.2... handle modifier, 250 durability, so both of these are better than Ardite. And it gives Squeaky, which gives it Silk Touch. So that will be a thing that we do in the future. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about food. Yes, we are. So you can see on my hotbar I have glowing bread from Reliquary. This stuff fully fills your hunger and your saturation, which is pretty incredible. If we look at the recipe for this guy, it's just normal bread around glowing water. Glowing water from Reliquary, glass panes, water, netherwort, glowstone, and gunpowder gives 5 of those. So that's what we've been eating, what I've been eating off camera for a while. Eventually, we'll be able to automate this. For now, we're not really able to automate it. Glowstone, not easily automatable, but it doesn't take much, actually. If I look at this, I still have 43 of that stuff. Netherwort, we're going to want to farm. Anyway, so farming is basically what I'm talking this episode. I want to farm wheat for the bread, netherwort, and also trees. I would really like to have a tree farm up and running. To do this, I believe I'm going to use the farming station from Ender.io. Oh boy. Maybe I'm not going to use the farming station from Ender.io. Wow. Did they change this recipe? I feel like they must have, unless I'm just crazy. This did not used to be this difficult, did it? Like, this is a whole big deal. Like, this is a rabbit hole. Maybe that's not what we're going to be using. Maybe instead we'll be using something like the farmer, except that's a rabbit hole in and of itself as well. Huh. I really thought that this would be easier. Okay, you know, let me take a break for just a second, figure out what I'm actually going to be doing this episode, and I'll get right back to you. I think I know what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to make our way into our first magic mod, Botania. Last season, we kind of focused mostly on blood magic, I guess if you could call it a season. We kind of cut it short, but, and I'm gonna get into blood magic again because it's a fantastic mod, but I figured I'd start with Botania this time because we never really... we never really, you know, got anywhere with it last time. We built the Sojourner's Sash and then stopped. This season I want to do more. The first thing I'm shooting for in this episode, however, is the Sojourner's Sash. So we can see that to get that, we need a Rune of Air and a Rune of Earth, which means we need the rune crafting, we need leather, and we need mana steel. So, let's get... What on earth does this do? Thank you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't need a guided tour, just thank you. Huh. I'll look into that more later. A little bit of a rabbit hole, or not a rabbit hole, but a distraction, excuse me. So, I don't know why the sky flickers like that every time I enter the chunks that are loaded. It really annoys me. Anyway, this is where I'm going to start doing Botania things. So, let's sleep away the night, and I'm going to craft up a few things related to Botania, and be right back. The very first thing you want to craft if you're going to get into Botania is the Petal Apothecary. We can see how this is crafted in JEI. It's fairly simple. You need cobblestone slabs, and any petal of your choice. You get these by just crafting the mystical flowers that you find in the world in any crafting grid, and you get mystical petals. So, we now have a Petal Apothecary. Great! What do we do with it? Well, the very first flower we're going to craft, and you should get accustomed to this crafting mechanic if you're not familiar with Botania, is a pure daisy. You just throw things into the Petal Apothecary, followed by a seed, to make all the flowers in the mod. The pure daisy is 4 white mystical petals, so you'll need to find 2 white mystical flowers somewhere in the world to get started here. I assume a lot of you have seen this before, but I figured I'd go through it step by step. There's our pure daisy. Plop that down on the ground. That's what it looks like. To actually do anything with this, you want to place wood and stone around the pure daisy, and you see these particle effects flying off of them, and those will eventually turn into living wood and living rock. These are very important materials that you'll be using a lot in the rest of the mod. So living rock is used for a huge amount of stuff. Living wood is used for a huge amount of stuff. So the next step after that is going to be mana generation. As you can see, if you look in the Lexicon of Botania, there are 2 basic types of flowers: generating flora and functional flora. Generating flora produce mana, the energy used in Botania. Functional flora use that mana to do something in the world. It's pretty simple, really. So, let's look into generating flora. The very most basic generating flora in this version of Botania, there used to be an even more basic one called the Daybloom, is the Endoflame. The Endoflame is a very rudimentary generating flora, blah, 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 blah. Basically, feed it coal, it will eat the coal and produce mana. So, to do that, we're going to need more flowers. You can see, if I look at the recipe here, we need light gray, red, and brown. I've gone around and collected some flowers around here. We have light gray, and we have red, but we don't have any brown. Now, you can explore the world looking for flowers until, I mean, I don't know, it'll take a while. In some mod packs, I've noticed that they tend to be quite rare. But there is another way to do this. If I grab myself some bone meal, we're also going to need some wood. I have some in my inventory. You can make yourself floral fertilizer. This will grow Botania flowers. And this just requires floral powder and bone meal. The powder is made with a pestle and mortar and a pestle and mortar, stick, planks, bowl. Do I have bowls on me? Where would those be? Right here. All right. Sticks, a stick, a plank, and a bowl. That's pretty easy here. There we go. I moved my crafting station out back just to get it closer to the works, like the project we're working on right now. Pretty good way to maximize your efficiency. Is that not how you do it? Like this? There you go. Pestle and mortar. So you can then use that to make yourself floral powder. I'm going to use these magenta flowers, I think, because I don't really need them. And we're going to make 8 floral powder. Then if I grab some bone meal and this powder, floral fertilizer. There you go. So you use this on the ground like you would bone meal. I'm going to clear a space here. And you can see we've got some flowers. So I got a black one, a red one, a green one, and a blue one. No brown. Right-click again. There's the brown. Perfect. Now, you might be tempted to just immediately use this brown flower. I'm going to throw some junk away into my inventory here. You might be tempted to just use this brown flower immediately. That would be a mistake. What you should do instead, once you have the color you need, craft it into petals. Plant those petals like you would anything else. You see you get these particle effects. And then you can grow those with bone meal into 2 high, tall mystical flowers. Don't break them by hand. That'll just break them. Use shears. You get the tall mystical flower back, and that turns into 4 brown petals. So then you can just keep doing this, and it's a good way to mass produce. It's a good way to mass produce the type of flower that you need. Now, you'll find that your inventory quickly gets clogged up, as mine has. If I look at a flower pouch, I believe it's called. No. At Botania pouch? Bag? What is that darn thing called? It is called a flower pouch. I was just being silly and not seeing it. This requires wool and a flower petal. So, I'm not sure that we have any sheep around here. I'm looking on the mini-map here. I'm going to go find some sheep, and I'll be right back. Alright, there were some sheep relatively nearby, so that's good. A note about the petal apothecary. It does need water. Have an infinite water source nearby so that you can refill it. Pretty simple there. So, let's build ourselves a flower pouch. Now, I believe, yes, you can put flowers in here. Not the tall ones, though. And it will store them. Now, I thought that this could store petals as well. I guess I am mistaken, which is unfortunate, but that's fine. Not a huge deal. This will still be an excellent way to declutter the inventory, get some flowers out of my inventory. So, for the Endo Flame, we are going to need red, brown, and light gray. That's the sound of the pure daisy doing its work, turning some stone into living rock over here. While I'm doing these early stages, I like to just constantly be producing living rock and living wood, because you're going to need a lot of it, so you might as well get down to business. After those, I'm going to go back to wood, though, because we're going to need more of that here in a moment. So, I have red, I have light gray, and I have brown. Not... My mouse wheel's doing funny things. There we go. So, we don't have any more brown. I'm just using brown petals. We have plenty of red and plenty of light gray. So, for this example, I'm just going to use these petals without producing any more. Endoflame. Cool thing about this is you can look up all these flowers in the JEI, and you can get a recipe for them. So, 2 brown, 1 gray, and 1 red. Pretty simple here. If we go 1, 2, 1, and 1, then a seed, we have an endoflame. So, that's great. We have a way to produce mana. Where the heck are we going to store it? Well, for that, we need some of this living rock, and we're going to be putting this mana into a mana pool. If you just take this living rock and craft it like a boat or an upside-down helmet, however you want to think of it, you get yourself a mana pool. Now, you might think that I could just put this mana pool right here by this endoflame, and it'll work. I can just give this thing some coal, it'll spit its mana into here. Nope, that's not how this mod works. Also, no GUI on the flowers. Everything is in-world crafting in Botania, so you literally just throw some coal or any other consumable on the ground. Any other consumable that does not have a byproduct. No lava buckets work. So you just throw it on the ground, it'll produce mana. But to get that mana from the flower to the pool, you need, finally, a mana spreader. To produce a mana spreader, we need living wood, as I said, a white petal, and some gold. It actually does not need to be white. It can be anything. It can be a red petal. Let's go grab some gold here. I believe I have some of that. In one of these, possibly. Maybe I have it over in my Tinker's box. I do. Yeah, let's just grab that. Keep it on us. We're going to need it in a little while anyway, I believe. We might be making a few spreaders this episode. So, just like this. No? Is that not how? Oh, it's open-ended. There we go. Mana spreader. There you go. So, now we have a system. Oh, it has a pumpkin on the side for Halloween. How cool. That's pretty neat. We have a flower that'll spit into the mana spreader that can spit in the mana pool. However, to make it spit into the mana pool, we need to control it. Like tech mods have wrenches, Botania has the Wand of the Forest. Once we sleep through the night here, I'm going to look that up. There we go. Wand of the Forest. 3 living wood twigs and 2 petals of any variety. And you can see, actually, it changes the model of the wand that you get depending on the flowers you use, which is kind of cool. These living wood twigs are just 2 pieces of living wood on top of each other. We need 3 of those. So 1, 2, 3. Now we just need 2 petals, and we are good to go. I'll just use the brown petals because I have those in my inventory. Ooh. Okay. Every time that song ends, I get a little bit of a lag spike. Not sure why. Kind of weird. There you go. Wand of the Forest. Oh, hello. The heck? Excuse you? Okay. So, we now have a Wand of the Forest. You can see it's in bind mode. If I sneak and right-click, it goes into function mode instead. These two do different things, obviously. What we want right now is bind mode. Sneak right-click on the mana spreader, and then right-click on the mana pool. Or sneak right-click on the mana pool. There you go. You can see now that the mana spreader is facing the mana pool. If I hover over this flower, you can see that it's an unknown status. Right-click on it, it shows an empty bar. That's the internal storage capacity of the flower. We also need to bind the flower to the mana spreader. You can see that now when I hover over the flower, the mana spreader is selected. Perfect. So now, let's grab some coal and let's generate our first amount of mana. If I just walk in here, what do I have? I have so much coal. Okay. So, we give this guy some coal, and if we hover over it with our wand, you can see that it's sent its mana up to the mana spreader. When this mana spreader gets a certain amount, it sends a burst over to the mana pool, and you can now see that there's actually some mana in this mana pool. Very, very cool. So this is how we generate the energy for Botania. Like this. All the other generating flora do similar things, just in different ways. Read through them at your leisure. Later in this Let's Play, we're going to be going over a lot of these, obviously. So, pretty cool. If placed down near a slime created by that power, it'll destroy it, collecting all the mana. Interesting. So you can use a slime farm to get mana? Very odd. Anyway, next, what we're actually trying to do this episode is get ourselves the Sojourner's Sash. This will allow us to run faster and give us step assist, which is really cool. The recipe for this requires runes. Runes are crafted on a runic altar. This is the next crafting mechanic for Botania. Living rock around a mana diamond or a mana pearl. These require a fair amount of mana. We don't have that much off of just one piece of coal, obviously, so we're going to want to give this thing plenty of time to kind of soak up mana. While it's doing that, I'm going to gather some other components that we need. A cool feature of this mod, if you right-click the Petal Apothecary with an empty hand with the components for the last recipe in your inventory, it'll just automatically fill them in. Throw in some seeds, you've got yourself some endo flames. I wanted to make a few more of these because one just wasn't cutting it. Another cool feature, if you place the flowers down after the spreader, they'll automatically link themselves to the nearest spreader. So now we can do 3 pieces of coal at the same time. And you can see that this mana spreader will be firing a lot more mana bursts here. I believe one spreader can sustain up to 5 endo flames is kind of the conversion ratio there. So I'm going to get myself a couple more and I'll be right back. For those of you wondering, the actual ratio is 10 endo flames to 1 basic mana spreader. So this is actually making us a fair amount of mana at this point, which is kind of cool. And it's going to serve us well when we go to craft a few items. For instance, the item we need to make the runic altar at this point, a mana diamond. Luckily, as I noted at the beginning of the episode, we have been mining and we do have a diamond on hand. Well, a diamond or 2. A lot of diamonds, really. Cool thing about this mod, again, Vasky, you've done a wonderful job. Everybody loves it. Obviously, it's been around for a while. But when you have enough mana in the pool to support crafting an item, it'll actually show you that you have enough mana in the pool. We now have ourselves a mana diamond. This is used for a lot of things. Just so many. The mana tablet, that's going to be very necessary in a little while, so we are going to need to craft another one of these. Mana pylons, very cool alternative to bookshelves for enchanting tables. Rod of the Plentiful Mantle. I have no idea what that does. Tainted Blood Pendant. Thundercaller. Like, it's used for a lot of things, let's just say that. So, now that we have our mana diamond, we can craft ourselves a runic altar. This thing is pretty cool. I'm going to put it here. It requires a mana spreader or some form of, like, later we'll have different ways of doing this, but a mana spreader to take mana and give it to the runic altar. With our rate of mana generation, we actually could do this without the pool in the middle, but I'm just going to make another mana spreader, because why not? We could just go like this and call it a day, feed this coal constantly while we try and craft, but it would be a pain in the butt. So, coming back to our Goal, the Sojourner's Sash. It requires 2 runes, Rune of Air and a Rune of Earth. The Rune of Earth requires a mushroom, mana powder, which is redstone in a mana pool, mana steel, iron in a mana pool, stone, and a block of coal. That's pretty easy. It does require a brown mushroom in particular. I believe I have one of those from my last foray into the Nether. No, I'm not seeing it. I see a red mushroom, but no brown mushroom. That's unfortunate. We'll have to go find one. But that's fine. An air rune, on the other hand, requires string, a feather, a carpet, mana powder, and mana steel. All of them are going to require mana steel and mana powder. And you get 2 for each of these recipes. This is also going to require a good amount of leather and mana steel. So, feather, string, carpet, mushroom. That's what we need, and that's what I'll have the next time I see you. Alright, so the next thing we need here, I've gathered all the materials, as I said I would. We are going to need a mana tablet, because the things from Botania require mana to operate, just like they require mana to create. So, for instance, the Sojourner Sash will not give any of its benefits if you don't have some sorts of mana, in this case a mana tablet, in your inventory. You can see the arrow there under the mana pool GUI. Mana tablet to mana pool, or if you shift right click while you're in bind mode, mana pool to mana tablet. If I then throw this mana tablet on here, maybe, there we go. Yep. Then you can see we have a tiny little fractional amount of mana in our mana tablet. So I'm going to grab more coal because we're going to need it for the runic crafting we're about to do. You can see I built another mana spreader. And a mana spreader on top of a mana pool will automatically take mana from the mana pool. So we're going to grab some more coal here. Let's just... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's go like this. Go like this. Okay. So it's time. We're gonna actually craft this stuff. I'm pretty blown away by that. If I look at the Rune of Earth, for instance, we need a mushroom, block of coal, piece of stone, mana powder, and a mana steel. Ooh, I did not craft my mana powder. Pretty easy. Just throw some coal on the ground here so our endo flames can pick it up. Generate some mana into our mana pool. There we go. Nailed it. Okay, so let's craft. Right click or throw the item onto the runic altar here. Mana steel, mana powder, block of coal, mushroom, and finally a piece of stone that I put away. Bam. And now you can see it's taking mana and putting it into the... taking mana from the mana pool, putting it into the runic altar. Now, what we need is a piece of living rock. Just throw it on top, right-click with the wand, and we get our runes of earth. It's a pretty cool process, actually. It makes you feel pretty cool. So, string, feather, carpet, I'm missing, feather, carpet, mana steel, mana powder, and we're crafting our rune of air. Just gonna keep feeding this thing coal while we're doing this. There we go. Living rock. Right click. And we have our runes of air. Perfect. Okay, now, it is getting dark. However, we have what we need. We have leather. We have our runes. We have a mana steel. Bam! Sojourner Sash. If we put that in our bauble slot, in the belt slot, it actually does show up on our character. And you can see I am much faster now. Before... after. Sprinting, Much better. Jumping is where it's most readily apparent, and the best part is step assist. So we can now walk up 1 block spaces. This is going to make exploration and everything else so much easier. Just so much easier. I mean, yeah, it really is going to make our lives just a lot simpler now that we can actually run around at a decent clip. So, the only thing that's left for this project, I mean, there's a lot left, don't get me wrong. This is the bare minimum. But what we need to do at some point soon is actually decorate this area. I have an idea for it, and I think it's going to be pretty cool, but I think that's going to be in the next episode. We might have one kind of compilation time-lapse next episode where I decorate this guy, build a nice little room for our portal, and decorate our Botania area a little bit. Start to build this out into something more resembling a build, rather than just a random assortment of blocks. So, let me take a look at where we're at for the time for this episode. I have a feeling we're getting close to running out of time. See if there's anything else small we can get to, and I'll be right back. I was 100% correct. We are out of time for today. So if you have enjoyed this little mini tutorial on the beginnings of Botania and how to absolutely rush a Sojourner's Sash, assuming you've already been, playing Minecraft a little while just to get the diamonds, the gold, the wood, the stone, the things you need, leave a like down in the comments, or leave a like down in the comment section. Leave a like and a comment down in the comment section down below. Subscribe for more content every single day. Follow me on Twitter, and please share these videos on Reddit. It really does help me out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I see you next time. As always, this is Mizuna, signing off.